Hi, and welcome to Social Smarts. I'm Agnes. Today we're going to be continuing our discussion about data. Last week, we discussed the kinds of data social media companies and apps collect, as well as the information your devices collect. In this episode, we'll discuss cross-platform data. It's super important to learn how your online habits are tracked because companies keep your data for a long time. That means they can develop a very detailed profile of who you are, what you like or don't like, and what your community or friends also like. Knowing this can help companies send you very specific ads or messages that can influence what you buy or how you see the world. Remember, they are trying to sell you something, whether it's a product or an idea or anything else. The more that you know about the data that companies collect, the more you'll be able to spot when you're being targeted. Let's get into it. Ever notice when you go to one app or website and then go to another website and it seems to be showing you something very similar? That is cross-platform data at work. The biggest category for this type of data collection is something called cookies. You've probably seen those pop up that say, this site uses cookies. Do you accept? So what exactly is a cookie? Think of a cookie as being a note that a website leaves on your device. When you go back to that website, it can check the note and remember what you did before. Cookies might sound like they're no big deal, and sometimes they can be really helpful, like when they save your game progress or keep you logged in to a site. But they can do a lot more. Cookies are actually a huge business. In fact, the global market for digital advertising, which uses cookies and other tracking methods, is worth over $600 billion. That's billion with a B. Let's break down the three main types of cookies so you know what they're tracking. Session cookies. These are cookies that are temporary and only stay on your device while you're using a particular site. Once you close the browser or tab, they disappear. For example, session cookies help websites keep you logged in while you browse. So if you're playing a game on a website, session cookies help remember your game level until you leave. And then there are persistent cookies. These cookies stick around a lot longer. They stay on your device even after you leave the site, sometimes weeks or even years. And they can help websites remember things like your language settings, items in your shopping cart, or your other preferences. So if you go back to a shopping site a month later, those cookies remember what you left in your cart. And then you have third-party cookies, and this is where things get a bit tricky and really interesting. Third-party cookies are placed by advertisers, not the website that you're visiting. And these cookies track you across different websites or apps, collecting information about what you like, where you go online, what you search for. For example, if you ever visited a shoe website and then suddenly started seeing ads for shoes on Instagram, Facebook, or on your search engine, that's because of third-party cookies. In fact, studies show that third-party cookies track users across more than 90% of websites online. They help advertisers build really detailed profiles of your behavior. It's kind of like leaving breadcrumbs everywhere you go online. Advertisers follow these breadcrumbs to learn about your interests, what you search for, and how long you spend on certain sites. Why do companies want this data? Your data is valuable. It's a $600 billion business. The more that they know about you, the better they can target ads to get you to buy things. And because they can sell your data to advertisers or use it to design more personalized ads, these companies make a lot of money from it. It's like when you tell a friend that you love pizza and they keep suggesting pizza places to you. Social media companies and websites do the same thing. And everyone gets a piece of the pie. If you see an ad and decide to buy a t-shirt, the advertiser earns money and the website or app that placed the cookie also gets paid too. That's how the whole system works. How much money are we talking about? Some of the biggest social media companies like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok make billions every year from ads. In 2023, Meta, that's the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, made more than $116 billion in ad revenue. To put that in perspective, Disney, which is one of the biggest and most successful entertainment companies in the world, made $89 billion. And they have movies, TV shows, ESPN, theme parks, games, and merchandise. But here's the kicker. You're the reason that they're making this money. Even though social media feels free, the real product that they're selling is you and your data. What happens when social media or other companies sell your data? Sometimes companies don't just use your data. They might sell parts of it. If a company knows that you were looking at sneakers, they might share that information with other businesses that pay them for it. And that's why you might start seeing sneaker ads on different websites later on. It can feel like the internet is reading your mind, but it's actually just data sharing at work. And if you have something like Alexa, Siri, or Google Home, those devices are listening to all your conversations and feeding that into data collection as well. What about all the data that your device collects? They use that data to make your experience more convenient, but it also helps them make money. Some of your data helps improve services, like maps that show you faster routes, but a lot of data is used by advertisers to target you with products that you're more likely to buy as well. For example, if your device is tracking that you're visiting a lot of coffee shops, you might start seeing ads for new coffee brands. How long do they keep your data? Here's the thing. Social media and other companies don't just throw your data away. Some companies anonymize data, meaning they remove your name and personal info like your birthday from it. But even then, if someone collects enough pieces of your data, it's often possible to tie it back to an individual. So why should you be careful about your data? It's personal. It's like giving someone access to the diary of your online life. If that data ends up in the wrong hands, like hackers or companies who don't follow privacy rules, it can cause problems. Think about it. If a company knows everything about you, like where you are, what you do, what you like, what you search for, they could influence your choices without you even realizing it. How can data be used against you? First up, targeted scams. Let's say hackers get their hands on your location or browsing habits. They might use that information to send you some super convincing fake messages. For example, you might get a message that seems like it's from your favorite store or app, but actually it's a scam and they want to trick you into giving up your password, your social security number, your payment, or other personal info. And then there's something that we touched on earlier, personal ads that feel too accurate. Have you ever noticed that sometimes an ad will show up and it's almost freakishly in tune with what you're thinking? It's not magic. That's your data at work. Did you know that some websites adjust prices based on your search history? Let's say that you're looking up flights to go on a trip. Some sites might raise prices because they know that you're interested and might be ready to book. They're using your data to make you pay more. Are there any laws to protect you online? Yes. Let's go over a few important ones in the US. First, there's COPPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, which we talked about before. This law is designed for kids under 13. And then there are a few laws under the California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, which includes the right to know. This law lets you ask a company, what information do you have about me? The company has to give you a clear answer so you can see everything that they know. Next up is the right to delete. This law allows you to delete information a company might have that you're not comfortable with. And there's the right to opt out of selling and the right to be informed. This says that companies must tell you what they're doing with your data. And that's why apps and websites show you those long privacy policies when you first sign up. Your phone is amazing, but it's also a data collection machine. Taking a few minutes to check your settings can help you keep control of your data. Check your privacy settings. Go to your app settings and turn off any data sharing options you don't need. Turn off location tracking. Not every app needs to know where you are. Clear your browser history and app cache. This stops advertisers from tracking everything that you do. Disable background app refresh. This stops apps from collecting data when you're not using them. Think before you click. Be mindful of what you share. Delete old apps. If you're not using an app, delete it so it doesn't collect data in the background. Use ad blockers. One more thing, read the fine print. When you sign up for new platforms, even a quick skim can give you an idea of what those companies are doing with your data. So what's the big takeaway? Your device is an incredible tool, but it and all the apps and websites that you visit are constantly collecting information about you. Every time you interact online, you're building a profile that companies use to influence what you see, what you think, and what you buy. Remember, your data is the real business of social media. If your device can track something, that means any app or website or search engine that you visit could potentially track that data too. By understanding how data collection, cookies, cross-platform data sharing, and tracking work, you'll be able to recognize when companies are trying to influence you. This isn't just about seeing a few ads. It's about learning to spot when your data is being used to push you toward choices you didn't plan to make. And this is why we're talking about this stuff, so that you have the knowledge and tools to think critically and make good decisions. I hope you learned something. Until next time, you got this. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.